Good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining tonight. If you noticed, I have a different background today. Getting ready for our local Bridge of Peace program tomorrow. So been kind of trying to make things look pretty. This is a nice little arch that hopefully looks good on stage. Thank you. I see Susan giving me a thumbs up. Thank you. And I wanted to just let everybody know and thank you for your prayers for Romina yesterday. I just heard from Glenda that actually baby came just 20 minutes ago. And everything seems healthy so far, but as we know, that's a long labor. That is a long time. So I think your prayers are really appreciated, and we can continue to pray for healthy newborn baby and healthy mama. So we are going to go ahead and get started here. Sorry. So we're continuing. Whoops, give me a second here. We are continuing with the speech that we read yesterday. And this is Mother speaking with some UPA young people. But like I said, there's a lot of really interesting stuff in this reading, and we're going to continue on. She says, in the early days, true parents should have emerged with the support of the Christian environment in which Christianity would have welcomed them. That was not achieved. Therefore, the 53 years that followed were like the winter season. We could not experience the spring. It is Heavenly Parents' dream, based on the birth of true parents, to welcome the spring and realize his ideal for creation. It took time due to the environment not being prepared. After that, who announced the new age, Foundation Day, and the first year of Chanoguk? And the young people say, True Mother, you did. Please don't forget this. The only way for you, your family, and your ancestors in the spiritual world to be liberated is by becoming one with True Mother. Do you understand? The Creator created Adam and Eve, who were to become the first ancestors of humankind. However, they failed to uphold the will of the Creator and were sent out of Eden. You must keep this in mind from now on. That is why I am saying that while I am still on earth, I will show you what Heavenly Parents' dream is like, what one family of humankind is like, and what life in the kingdom of heaven on earth is like. That is why I am also saying that in keeping with this, I will develop the Chunwon area in the Garden of Eden. Yeah, so a lot of kind of different points that are made here. And again, when I choose sections, I'm choosing ones that I see Mother kind of repeating over and over again. And so this first paragraph where Mother is talking about, she's identifying that we know, right? True parents are supposed to come on this Christian foundation. And they should have been welcomed by Christianity. And what she's saying is that was not achieved. And then she says the 53 years that followed were like the winter season. And I think that's a sentence to pay attention to, because I've been seeing her use this number, 53 years. And we have to think about, what does that mean? Mother's kind of counting from the blessing of true parents these days. She's really marking their blessing as the starting point of this providential era, because God was waiting for true parents, right? God wasn't just waiting for a man or a woman. God was waiting for true parents. But she's kind of painting this picture that actually the last 53 years of our movement has been a winter season, which is different. Of course, we've had many successes and many, great improvements and changes in our movement and victories and different people who have come to know our true parents. But she's letting us know that, maybe things didn't go exactly the way that they were supposed to, and that it's been very difficult these last few decades. And she's saying we couldn't experience the spring. But then the next point that she's making here is that I think we've hit on it on a few other nights too, but she's asking the question. So here, we've been in a winter season, and then she asks, who is the person who launched Foundation Day and who was able to launch this new age? And we've mentioned this in other speeches, right? She talks about who's the person who could hold the first continental blessing and who could claim these kind of victories, the restoration of 7 religions and 7 nations and so forth. And the answer is True Mother. And it's not to uplift her as a person, but for us to help us understand and recognize the significance of the role of the True Mother, and that this providential time period is supposed to be sacred and special for the True Mother, the final piece of the providence that we've been waiting for. And this is something that is part of our theology, but we haven't really awoken to it and understood it on a deeper level. And so now this is a time where Mother, you think about Mother's passing to spirit world at some point, right? Maybe in the next 10 years, I don't really know, but she has to think about what are the pieces that our members, our blessed families still don't understand, that I need them to understand before I go to spirit world. And that's why I think she's framing things and saying certain things, because she recognizes as a culture, there's some pieces missing in our fundamental theology. It's not exactly different. We haven't drawn out all the important points that we need to understand the age that we're living in. And then the last thing that I want to mention here is I love that Mother is also very practical. And so she's saying, while I'm on earth, I will show you what Heavenly Parents' dream is like. I will show you what this human family is like. And the last sentence we have is, I will develop the Chunwon area into the Garden of Eden. And if you've been to Changpyeong lately, you know it's absolutely breathtaking. And Mother has put so much investment into just every little detail. It's just breathtaking to be there. And so it's not just the internal, she's also helping us understand that we have to prepare the environment. We have to have pretty arches in our Bridges of Peace program, right? Especially we women, we have to kind of put the touches and say, we should prepare a nicer meal than that, or we should have a nice tablecloth. Because if we're living in the kingdom of heaven, we want the internal and the external to match. So I love that she's always practical in these points too, while she's pushing the internal as well. So we're going to hear from some wonderful ladies from the Western region, and I'm very happy to welcome first Mrs. Myrna Lepre, who's our representative from the Bay Area, to share her reflections with us. Welcome, Myrna.
Thank you. Yeah, I was thinking about this concept of 53 years of winter, and thinking about my gratitude that Mother persevered. I mean, we went through it, but Mother kept this vision of what it's supposed to be like until this point now. And it's the time to welcome spring. And actually, I haven't been to Changpyeong in a while, so I think I have to go back and see all the developments. But I think it's also more than just, like as Kaylee said, it's more than just our external environment. It's kind of a time of melting the heart, melting the hearts of people and bringing love more into our communities. And, even when Mother says, witness, 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 she doesn't mean to just bring people to events. She means that we have to love them, and just in the same way that we have to love our families. And I was inspired this last weekend. I was the director of our local, we had a family camp in the beginning, I wasn't really sure how many people are going to show up, but we had over 112 people, and it was very intergenerational. Kids who grew up in our community brought their kids, and we had grandparents. And I felt like, that's what Mother's talking about for our whole world, to be able to bring together people where we can care about each other, and we were in the redwoods, so we had a beautiful forest, but it was so enjoyable to see. On Saturday night, we had family games, and there was, a grandmother and a mother and a little kid doing this relay race with balloons, and, just to see the people interacting. And, developing our connection of heart. And one of the things that was our goal with the family camp was to bring back families who weren't so connected, or hadn't been, really, coming to church, that kind of thing. So I think we achieved that. And I know that this has to be like a ripple to expand it. That's what Mother's real vision is. And so I just want to know, I am so grateful for this prayer condition. I haven't been able to attend live many times, but just to really support Mother at this really providential time, and to be like helping her in this, creating the spring of our movement, and to really help it blossom and grow. Thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you, Myrna. Yeah, your point about actually how Mother has been persevering through this winter time and holding on to the dream that maybe we didn't really understand is really, really profound. And I think we're all excited to hear about your family camp. That's the dream for all of us, right? This beautiful intergenerational experience. Yeah, it's beautiful. Thank you, Myrna. And now we're going to hear from our sister from Kodiak. This is Tasna Bersi. Tasna, we'd love to hear your reflection tonight.
Hi, everybody. Yeah, it was interesting. The first time I read through this, I was like, oh, I don't know. I don't know what I think about this. It was very, yeah. And, I was like telling my sister sitting on the couch, I was like, I can't think of big providential things. All I'm trying to think about is like making it through today. I'm like, 6 months pregnant and have a toddler and need to put dinner on the table and all these things. And but she slept for a long time, and I had a few minutes just to like reread. I read the whole speech, and I was like, oh, there's actually a lot here. I think a lot here that I just needed to connect to and find the right heart space to go to. Yeah, so like, the beginning, talking about the early days, and I think that's something I've come back to a lot in Mother's recent talks, is like how things could have started so differently. Even like for the earliest members to understand who True Mother was in relation to True Father would have made everything so different. Not just that he was a wife that he picked, but someone with her own role and responsibility, guided by God. I think that was the most striking part of her memoir, was just like that she was called, long before Father was even in the picture. She knew who she was. And I remember a few years ago, there was that musical in Korea for one of the Sangpas. It was all about like the buttons are being buttoned wrong. And I was like, what the heck is this? What are they talking about? And I finally, like understand it now. Like, yeah, if you unbutton the first button wrong, everything else that follows is just slightly off, or something's missing. And you don't always see it until the very end, right? Where you're buttoning the last button. But I've been reflecting a lot on how, if true parents had really been welcomed by Christianity, both Father and Mother, I often just think Father, but like if Mother had really been welcomed, how it would have shaped our movement's relationship with True Mother so differently, right? And I think it would have shaped, I've been thinking a lot, would have shaped my mother's relationship with Mother so differently, and would have shaped each of my aunties on this call's relationship with Mother so differently, and therefore then their own relationship with God and their relationship with themselves and their sense of identity and value, and that would have trickled down so differently to us as children, right? I think starting with true parents, it would have shaped our parents' generation of marriages so differently, right? And how we were raised and the families that we grew up in. And so just realizing again that impact, right, of not understanding who Mother was at the very beginning. And so yeah, when she talks about, the only way for you and your family and your ancestors to be liberated is to become one, it makes sense. It's like your first button has to be rebuttoned correctly, right? And for all the pieces to realign, it has to start with my own shift and understanding. And I think it takes a lot of courage to sort of go there and to break down like what I knew my whole life, or what our movement has taught and explained forever. There's been a few times in my life where I've had to really go through a paradigm shift of like breaking down everything that I thought was true and having the courage to like be open to what I don't know, and maybe what needs to change, especially when we grow up in a movement of so much truth, right? And truth is supposed to be unchanging, but that there's so much to add to that truth. And yeah, and I remember reading, like, for example, I remember reading one of her early speeches where Mother talks about how the spiritual head of the family is actually the mother and not the father. It's so different than how we grew up. Like, that was like DP basic. Father is the spiritual head of the family, but there's naturally, you feel this sense that like, yeah, a mom plays such a huge role in nurturing and educating and raising a child. And of course, like, it's together with the father, but such a different, even just that simple statement, right, has really shifted the last few years how I've approached marriage and family. Like, even having a conversation with my own mom where she's like, yeah, like, Papa was the head of the family, and she, because that teaching, she shared with me, she felt it wasn't really her place to say sometimes things or to step up and lead, like how we did pledge or how we did Hundake, it's because Papa's the spiritual head of the family, and I remember hating Hundake and hating pledge and feeling like there's so much like rigidity there and not so much heart there, and she understands, like, a bunch of little 10-year-old kids reading providential speeches are just like, it's not going to go through, right? And so, like, in my own family now, I see like the ways that this part of growth of a family comes more naturally to me as a mom, is like in tune with a little bit more of where Kylia's at and like how to approach like raising a family. And of course, Lucas, fully supports, he joins in, he grows with us. But if I left it to him, there would frankly be a lot missing, and so just reflecting on how that example, like in my own individual family, extends to our movement, right? And talking to some friends, like just reflecting on many ways our movement sort of raised by a single father energy, rather than this like dual balance of both the father's energy and a mother's energy, and there's impact and there's a result because of that, right? And then the last part, like Mother's talking about, I will show you what Heavenly Parents' dream is like, what one family of humankind is like. I think, and building the Chunwan area, like, I feel like that's so much of Mother's heartache, that she couldn't show her own children, like her own physical children, and all of us what a family was really meant to look like, yeah. And I think it's like her heart to want to do that. Like, I think as a mother, she cannot not recognize the impact, even just for her own kids, right? To not experience what really God wanted them to be able to experience in a family. And so even like the Chunwan area is, like, it naturally elicits a grounding or a settling, or it's a place you want to just be with your family, and you want to invite people to spend time with you. And I think that's really like Mother's heart. It's a woman's heart of like, your home is a reflection of who you are, and you want it to be welcoming and inviting, and it speaks volumes to who you are. Like, you don't have to say much, you just feel, right? Like, I live in Kodiak, so there's North Garden, you just walk in and you can just feel more than Father's energy. I think it's Mother's energy of just like embrace and welcome and grounding and peace. It's like, we have a garden out front of our house, and like, you can see the ocean, and I just love to invite people to come over and play with their kids. Having really meaningful conversations with our neighbors who have 3 little boys, talking about blessing. And she's like, it's so cool, you guys get blessed and marriage and da da da. I'm just like, I don't know where this is going, but okay, you think it's cool. I don't know how to manifest witnessing, but it's just like, yeah, come over, come get eggs with us, pick carrots from the garden, like, dig in the dirt with your kids. And I think that's a start. And I'm reminded that we're still unpacking this process of what it means to build this all, like, out of a restorative age into really substantial daily living. And we're pioneering it, and I get frustrated sometimes at the shortcomings and the lacks. And I have to remind myself that, like, we are pioneering it. No one has done it. And even motherhood, right? Often like frustrated, like, why can't I just read mother speeches about how you're supposed to put your kids to bed and how you're supposed to raise them and how you're supposed to discipline them? Like, why didn't you give that kind of guidance, you know? And then just reflecting and being like, well, that's not mother's responsibility. Like, that's yours. You have to figure it out. It's your generation's, responsibility to figure out how do you unpack all of that, And I think, not just a second gen, but living in this particular time. So yeah, those are my reflections from this little reading. And just a lot of like, still, what is it all going to look like? But trusting that, mother's heart is actually in the same place. What's it going to look like,
Wow, thank you, Tasna. It's amazing how much insight you can get from just like a few passages. And this is from the girl who said, the first time I read it, I didn't get much from it. And then look, so much profound wisdom and insight connecting us to Mother's heart. Thank you so much, Tasna. Yeah, both of you creating such a beautiful space to kind of tap into really what's on Mother's heart at this time. So we're going to switch over to our prayer time, and I will ask Tasna to offer the first representative prayer and then Myrna the second prayer. And then afterwards, we'll do our unison prayer. So Tasna, whenever you're ready, you can go ahead and offer your prayer.
Good evening, Heavenly Parent. Thank you for this call, this time together with my sisters and my aunties, preparation for Father Seonghwa, and really seeking to create a space and an environment of support for Mother, especially at this time. I feel like there is so much still to unpack and to understand more deeply, and it must not be an easy place for Mother to be in, to be maybe wanting to share so much and not always knowing how to, or who can be open and receptive to it all, or to take the time and have the sincerity and heart to unpack all the depth and the wisdom that lies in her words and her experience and her heart. And so I'm really grateful for this time that's being created, for all of us to come together and to invite you to be a part of this journey with us, of growth, of discovery, of healing, of seeking to forgive those things of the past and the shortcomings, and also to take responsibility for how things can unfold and move forward. So I want to offer up this time in my name, Tasna Lucas Bursey, Best Central Family, Jew.
Dear Heavenly Parents, we pray with gratitude to take this time out of of today to come together and to offer our insights, reflections, and prayers centering upon the words of our true Mother. I pray that we can continue to desire, long for more, to understand all that she has kept in her heart all these years. And this is the time now to really open up and share with us. And I pray that we can have a heart of understanding and a heart of really wanting to partner with Mother in bringing the spring into our communities and into this world. I pray with gratitude that we have the opportunity to be alive at this time and to see the development and the blossoming of what was meant to be. I know that it must pain your heart so much, Heavenly Parent, that it's taken so long, and we pray that we can be able to work as efficiently and with a desire to really see changes within ourselves, within our families, within our communities. And we pray also for Reverend Dunkley, who's going around to the different communities to really represent our true Mother and to share the pearls that she's kept inside for so long. I pray, Heavenly Parent, that we can be able to understand the preciousness of what we are learning and what we are understanding in a new way, the history that we have learned throughout our church life, that we can be able to find the right way, to share it with others in our community, with our families, and with those in our neighbors and beyond, that we can be able to really give the model that our true mother is striving to show us, of really one family under God, that where we can be able to honor and serve and love each other and be able to support each other in building really thriving and awesome families and communities. So I offer this prayer now together with all of the representatives here. In my name, Michael and Myrna Lepre, Blessed Central Family, Aju.
Thank you. Thank you for your beautiful prayers. And now we'll do our 4-minute unison prayer. So I invite everybody to unmute and offer your prayer together at this time.
Heavenly
Thank
Thank you so much.
Dear Heavenly
Giving us the
Parent, good
opportunity to
evening,
be
and
alive.
thank you for this evening prayer that we can
Most precious and beloved Heaven Prince.
bless.
True Mother wants to teach us so many ways. Yes,
We know that in each home there's a special warmth that came to
thank you,
the
Heavenly
infant
Father.
mother's
well-being and
we
safety.
can identify that because we see it in their hearts and their
Tradition.
the actions of their sisters and brothers that
To them,
mother and wives are walking together as true mother wives.
Brother, sister,
to whoever we meet.
To be able to
Brothers and
have
sisters,
in her heart more.
Each and every one of us
as we are listening to Mother and
have
reading
Mother
between the
Jonas.
lines,
yes,
understanding the pain, understanding
Good word.
support that
Give us
understanding
that
give us
around
good
the
word.
parents.
love
She
You
did
to be
Uh,
tested naturally.
perfection.
the
No one could
Heavenly Father, thank you
stories
so
of
much for
why
the
we
live
went through the
love
same
that
thing without that
helps us
support.
to
give
These
us
really
are
the
maintain
families
her.
that
that
true
naturally.
mother.
parents
We
maybe
love her
just
deeply,
we had
She has
to
to relate
grow
with
Finish
her,
your work.
movement
and
in
experience
the
her.
Heavenly Father,
using her
receiving
Not
heart
just hearing it
leaders,
from
believe
someone,
that
just
especially
come on the
younger
foundation
leaders.
guided
They're half
a real
her
Christian
relationship.
of
followed the
True
decent
mother
leading
we did
gives us
here.
the strength
at all.
Bottom
her
what we
guides
hear
and
say.
Connection to
providence.
you
to the
and
sound that
Mother
is
has
Some
mother
people don't
borne
want the
to
earth.
her
all her
large
life
everything
every
But
heavenly
her
and
world
which we are
cross,
also
spiritual
grateful
children
for.
her
around the
work,
world.
so
The
that she can
cosmos
return
are
rest
Events,
special
now
of her
lift up,
sacrifice.
carry
everyone
on,
feels
strengthen
that
us both to
can
love one
even begin to
proud,
to unite in
yes
heart
when they hear that is the central person in the
and to
movement.
walk the ways we did walk
to
together as
mold
well.
and raise, proud
It's a
And
time
love
that
share.
we're
give what
Making a very big impact
as
in the
much
world at this particular time.
and
that
we have a
Thank you,
responsibility,
parents.
but know that we will
practice for
2 minutes
life.
will determine ourselves more
Really feel warmly we need them, not to be
Thank you, parents.
judging them, but
Thank you for opportunity in life.
with
situation
true mother
we have something to
Foundation.
give to someone.
in this way that you intended it to be.
No matter
Way
how
with
The
your
young
world.
we are,
infants.
Want to really
whichever
help them,
condition we are,
Caring mental career
the
children's work
early
at the
years
channel.
WFWP was intended to be the
mother
To bring
extension
more
of True
women,
Mother. It's my wish and my
women
hope that all of us
like this,
as
Time when
of
members,
this
as women,
like yourself.
to transform this world and make it a
And me
place
too.
where
for the young
Because
the
lady
Spirit,
who
the
is
Heavenly
this
Mother,
revival
belittle his
also
felt
and the feeling logical
efforts and his searching
leadership
amidst all the
being
people he
of Heavenly Father.
found.
Implements
He found both of them
the logical power
being
that
inspired to
people
love
that
and
don't
to
even
go
know
is
this
as
way
well.
the mother of the
and to lead our movement.
they are so
Just
Can't just
it's
depend on
nowhere.
tradition that
It's not
was
what
laid
that
2,000
heaven
years
work.
ago.
their wishes. How is
Okay?
it that
If heavenly leaders at this particular
Incorporate
time
this is a new
come
generation?
to
the
make
lessons
main leaders,
They're
that
giving
brought
so much
and
especially helping making our world a
the
better
next
place.
I
millennium
pray. I'm in California.
Please
everything
guide
This
that
morning from
our young
England.
man
was begun
to find the
2,000
best.
This
years
is very
very lonely. What is the right thing to
Would
do?
open
himself
up to
And to accept he would be welcomed by
But this
their
was
own
guide
leader.
choice.
Try to find a
Everyone
place there.
Accept
Jesus.
accept
To
one of the African
hear this
cousin
families.
Raju. You know, I really hate interrupting these prayers because it's like so deep. You can feel how sincere people are. That's how I feel every time. So I'm really so grateful for it. And I just wanted to share today, we have a Chuncheon in this building. And so it's been a very busy, stressful day for me, but I made sure to go pray, make sure I was in the right place. And I was sitting there and I was praying, okay, God, what's your message to me? Like, what do I need to hear right now? And I laughed at the response because it wasn't what I thought. It wasn't like, you're doing a good job and I love you. It wasn't that. It was, oh, go get to work. You have stuff to do. So I just wanted to share that there, as much as we're connecting with the motherly side of God, I think there's still the fatherly side of God too that's pushing us to be fearless and to be persevering through challenging, stressful times. And I think it's encouragement to all of us that we got to figure out, right, what Mother really is asking us to do and how to bring the result that she needs at this time. So thank you so much, everybody. Tomorrow night we'll shift the way that we're doing these prayer nights a little bit and hear some reports and activities and things that are happening. So look forward to a good sharing tomorrow, and we'll see you then. Thank you, everybody. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Bye. Bless. Good night.